Compared to the modern day world, the prehistoric world is, well, very different. And with there being a lot of prehistoric creatures that used to live, here are 10 animals that you should be glad are extinct.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
I've also noticed that a lot of you guys watching this video aren't even subscribed yet. So if you do enjoy the video, make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you know whenever we post a new video. With that being said, let's get right into the video. Number 10. The Mosaicosaurus. Mosaicosaurus was a small predatory theropod dinosaur from the late Cretaceous of Madagascar. It's a small bipedal meat-eating dinosaur that had forward-pointing teeth, a long neck, and a long tail, and was about the size of a really big dog. The most distinctive characteristic is the forward-projecting or procumbent front teeth, which are heterodonts, meaning that they have different shapes along the jaw. The first four dentary teeth of the lower jaw projected forward, with the first tooth angled at only 10 degrees above the horizontal. These teeth are long and spoon-shaped and hooked forward with hooked edges. They have carnae or sharp edges that are weakly serrated. Serrations are more evident along the rear edge of the posterior teeth of the back jaw, which are also recurved and laterally compressed, resembling the less unusual teeth of other carnivorous dinosaurs. The margin of the dentary curves downwards so that the alveoli or tooth socket of the front teeth are directed forward. The alveolus of the first tooth is actually situated lower than the bottom edge of the rest of the lower jaw. The lower part of the rear edge of the dentary has a long prong known as the ventral process. This differs in the situation in albilosaurids, which have much shorter ventral process. On the other hand, the upper part of the rear edge of the dentary is very small of that albilosaurs, such as Majungasaurus and Carnotaurus. Albilosaurids is what those are. Number 9. Edestus. Edestus was a shark that lived during the late Carboniferous period about 300 million years ago. Edestus had teeth that kept growing beyond the tip of its snout, looking for all the world like a fish with toothy, pinking shears mounted on its nose. That's basically what it was. Edestus giganteus was the largest of the Edestus species. It is a genus of eugeniodontid holocephalids that live throughout the world's oceans, from the late Devonian to the late Carboniferous. All the species are known only from their teeth, which the Edestus eat, both sawfish and billfish, whip their snouts back and forth to stun and slice their prey. So Edestus ate sawfish and billfish. Number 8. Protodonata. Millions of years ago, almost everything seemed to come in one size. Big. Count Protodonata in that group, which were ancient dragonfly-like creatures. Protodonata, or also known as Meganeura or Meganeuropsis, were the biggest insects ever known on Earth. These monstrous insects were probably the first creatures to fly. They could perform in aerial maneuvers never seen before by any prey or predators. This gave the dragonflies a survival advantage that lasted until the dinosaurs came along. Protodonata looked much like modern dragonflies, but were obviously much bigger. The largest known species had a wingspan of 20.5 feet, with a body that measured 16 inches long. This insect was nearly as big as a duck, but a lot thinner, obviously. Number 7. The Quetzalcoatlus. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Quetzalcoatlus? This huge flying reptile was about the size of a small airplane and glided through the prehistoric skies. Quetzalcoatlus, it's so hard to say. Quetzalcoatlus soared at great heights and could spot food from hundreds of feet in the air. Some people even think this prehistoric creature still exists. With a wingspan that measures up to 50 feet wide, Quetzalcoatlus was the biggest flying creature ever known to exist on Earth. The beast's body was 20 feet long and had a light build and weighed only about 200 pounds. This flying reptile had a long neck reaching up to 8 feet in length. This helped give Quetzalcoatlus a long reach for hunting and scavenging. Yeah, this thing's really big. Number 6. The Gigantophis. Gigantophis was the biggest snake to ever slither on Earth. This prehistoric reptile was such a monster it even preyed on a type of ancient elephant. Gigantophis wrapped its heavy, muscled body around its prey and squeezed it until the victim could no longer breathe. Gigantophis wasn't venomous, but it was around when some of the first poisonous snakes began to appear. This ancient snake was an ancestor to modern pythons and boa constrictors. Gigantophis had a thick body lined with strong muscles that it used to squeeze the breath out of prey. Gigantophis was an absolute monster, up to around 40 feet long, which is about as long as a whale shark, the biggest fish on Earth. It was the biggest snake to ever known to exist on Earth. The longest living snake is the reticulated python, which can only go up to 30 feet, and this thing can go up to about 40 feet long. Number 5. The saber-toothed tiger. Thousands of years ago, the saber-toothed tiger terrorized animals across the plains of North and South America. The tiger attacked its prey with huge canines, slashing the victim in the neck or ripping it into soft underbelly.
Right, now.
God, that scared me. The tiger's tail is short, unlike other predatory cats such as cheetahs, which use their tails for balance during a chase. The saber-toothed tiger didn't run down prey, but preferred to ambush the victim. The long canine teeth were similar to tusks and stuck out when the tiger closed its mouth. Modern cats have spiked canines, but not nearly as long as the saber-toothed tiger's, canines. It had a length of up to 5 feet, weighed up to 450 pounds, and fossils of this creature have been found in North and South America, where it lived, obviously. And it also preyed on really large mammals. Number 4. The T-Rex. The terrible Tyrannosaurus Rex, or T-Rex, was a real-life nightmare for other dinosaurs more than 65 million years ago. Not only was it huge, but stood upright and could run fast with long strides. T-Rex towered over most other dinosaurs and had a really big head. Its skull and jaw alone measured over 5 feet in length. The dinosaur's front legs had little use, and they were too short to reach its mouth. And it only had 2 claws for grasping, because it had really short arms. Some scientists believe that although T-Rex had a formidable presence, it probably was not a very good hunter. Its front legs were too small to assist in killing prey, with only two claws, and that led some scientists to believe that T-Rex was a scavenger. Number 3. The Megalodon. Megalodon is the great-grandfather of the top predatory shark living today, the great white. But Megalodon was much bigger, a double dose of jaws, and then some. Megalodon measured more than twice as long as the biggest great white and weighed about 44 tons more. The monster sliced through mammoth prey, mainly whales, with its long teeth, each with an ultra-sharp sawtooth edge. Almost of what scientists know about the Megalodon comes from its fossilized teeth. The largest of the shark's triangular teeth are 7 inches long. That's just the teeth alone, and that's more than twice the size of the great white's teeth. With such large teeth, the shark needed massive jaws to hold them. Scientists have recreated Megalodon's jaws, which measured 6 feet wide. The sharks could have swallowed a horse in one gulp. It almost had a length of like 60 feet, so it weighed up to it had a length of 55 feet, almost 60 feet. And it preyed on prehistoric whales because it was that big and that powerful. Now it is time for today's thumbnail pick. essentially what the thumbnail pic is basically I'm going to be showing you a picture that should hopefully be in the thumbnail. Either way, for today's thumbnail pic, we have what looks to be a pretty scary animal. What is it, though? I'll tell you. Find out next with number 2. The Andrewsarchus. Imagine a wolf-like creature more than 6 feet tall running across the plains of what is now Central Asia. Andrewsarchus was the largest meat-eating mammal to ever live on land. It thrived in the period after the dinosaurs had become extinct, but it didn't make it to modern times. This creature is named for the explorer Roy Chapman Andrews, who was the inspiration for the movie character Indiana Jones. Andrewsarchus was a monster of a creature. It stood more than 6 feet high at the shoulder and sported a skull that measured 3.5 feet long, 3.5 feet long. The beast had special teeth made for slicing and crunching, but it may not have been a great hunter. Scientists believe that Andrewsarchus probably ate wounded creatures that couldn't flee and even dead mammals. Either way, though, this creature is still pretty dangerous, and you definitely should be glad that this thing doesn't exist anymore. And finally, at number 1, the Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus wasn't your typical predator from the age of dinosaurs. A tall sail on this creature's back looks like it belongs to a plant-eating dinosaur. Spinosaurus was big enough to overpower just about any creature of its day, but instead it uses its crocodile-like teeth and jaws to feast mainly on a diet of fish. Spinosaurus was named for the tall spines that go up to 6 feet in height on the top of his back. That's already as tall as like the average human being. The dino's arms were longer than those of other predators, so it may have used them to grab smaller prey, and they're pretty much amphibious. Well, they're not amphibians, but they're pretty much amphibious creatures because they can thrive on in the ocean. They can like hunt and swim and thrive in the ocean, but also can do the same thing on land. Spinosaurus' teeth and jaws were very different from those of other meat-eating dinosaurs. This predator had a long snout that was lined with long teeth like a crocodile and were perfect for stabbing and grabbing fish. Scientists believe that Spinosaurus lived near the shores of the largest river or seas and spent most of its time knee-deep in the water, spearing large fish, of course. This dinosaur is literally dubbed the deadliest dinosaur of all time, so you guys could probably assume why it would be number 1 on this list. You definitely should be glad that this thing doesn't exist, because if it did, it would probably kill everybody. Anyways, guys, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, then make sure that you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe we'll do a part 2. Who knows? It depends on what you guys want. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, everybody.